COVID restrictions have been eased across Jamaica, although some remain in place. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement in Parliament on Tuesday. We have the details in this report.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the new curfew and other COVID-19 restrictions will remain in effect until December 10.
Starting on Thursday, November 18th, the curfew hours will be from 9 p.m. nightly to 5 a.m. the following morning. This will remain in effect until 5 a.m. on December 10, 2021. Madam Speaker, the limit on the number of persons in attendance at a place of worship will be increased from the current limit of 50 to 100 persons. Yes, to providing, of course, that the social distance requirement is met. So the ceiling is 100, regardless of how large your enterprise is, but you are always subject to whatever is the social. So if your church, with the social distance requirement, which were in the previous in the previous orders, if your church can only hold 40 people properly distanced, then that is what your church can hold. But we have gone up to now 100. Obviously, Madam Speaker, no crusades, no conferences, no conventions at this time. The number of persons permitted to physically attend a wedding will be increased similarly. And of course, if the space in which you are can't take 100 persons, you are subject to the social distancing rule. But if the venue is large, maximum of 100 persons.
Mr. Holness says the COVID pre-testing requirement, antigen or PCR for travelers to Jamaica, remains in effect.
The existing travel protocols for fully vaccinated persons require them to quarantine for 8 days following their arrival in Jamaica, or to take a PCR test after their arrival at their own expense to be released from quarantine. So, effective November 18th, fully vaccinated persons who obtain a PCR test as their pre-test prior to travel will not be required to conduct another PCR test after arrival in order to be released from quarantine.
The Prime Minister says the government has no plans to shut down the country again as his administration pivots to guide the country to live with what is now an endemic phase of the virus's spread.
It is the greatest conundrum I find myself in, Madam Speaker, to promulgate measures to keep people safe, but to have people quarrel about those measures. So we're cautiously, as I said, cautiously taking them down slowly but surely, keeping the warnings that we are not out of the pandemic, we are moving into a new phase, and we have to still maintain our caution, and that the only way out of it is to get vaccinated.
He says his team is also looking at eventually having only a fixed number of hospital beds designated for COVID-19 patients so as to relieve the strain on other health services.
We cannot continue to dedicate virtually the entire capacity of the health system to dealing only with COVID-19 to the detriment of all other legitimate health system users.
Jamaica has recorded over 90,000 cases of the coronavirus COVID-19 since March 10 last year and more than 2,000 COVID-19 related deaths.